Alright, ladies and gentlemen, after a long holiday break, we are back, and I am super excited for the beginning of Phase 2.
Hear the music.
Say hello to the bad side. My emotion is flatline. Hungry demon, what I'm seeing is snack time. When I rush in the grab, I better run from the path line.
Alright, how's that for an intro? Welcome back to Rick's Garage, everyone. As I mentioned, Phase 2 has begun, and if you have no idea what I'm talking about, click this link for a full breakdown of all the work being done in each phase. If you're all caught up, you'll know that Phase 2 is the answer to every motorhead's need.
What do we need?
You're goddamn right.
Now, Miss Vicky had a baseline dyno done back in episode 8, and once Phase 2 is done, it'll give the perfect before and after comparison to see exactly how much power we've gained from all the bolt-on performance. So let's get started by removing the factory air intake system. The factory air box consists of two halves. The top half is held into the car with two 10mm bolts that are located beside the ECU. A socket extension will help you get to those. As well, we're going to disconnect the mass airflow sensor and remove the plastic clip. And lastly, we're going to loosen the intake snorkel to free up the upper half. With a sharp pull upwards, the air box disconnects from the rubber grommets and comes out. Once it's out, we're going to need to get underneath to remove the lower half. Although you can get access to it by removing the tray underneath the engine, it makes the job a lot easier if you remove the entire underpan. Here's a link to episode 13 where I go over how to take it off. Once the tray is gone and we've got some room, we're going to remove the two 10mm bolts that fasten the lower half of the airbox to the car. With the airbox out of the way, we're also going to remove this bracket, which is held in with a 10mm bolt on top of the subframe. It's no longer needed, and it's in the way of where the inlet of the new 271 intake is going to sit. The last piece of factory equipment to come off the car is the flexible intake tube that we loosened earlier.
Personally, I think the easiest modification for any vehicle is going to be the intake system. It's just a bunch of piping that gets the air from the outside of the engine to the inside. And generally speaking, if you can make that trip a little bit easier and faster, you end up getting more power as a result. At first glance of this airbox system, you can see that there's a bunch of bends and twists. It's not a very smooth trip for the air to take to get inside of that engine. So thankfully this is going out and we've got the new 271 to replace it. Taking a look inside of the box, we've got the actual airbox itself, as well as some bracketry and some V-band clamps, and then all the tubings for the mass airflow sensor. For those of you who may have missed the 271 interview, Vincent and I went over the different features of this airbox. I'll leave a link in the description down to 271's page to get all the details yourself. But for the most part, it should be a pretty straightforward install. Really, the only modification that needs to be done is the mass airflow sensor needs to be taken out of the factory airbox and bolted into the 271 adapter. Once the Lexan lid is removed, that'll gain us access to underneath and we can bolt it into the supplied bracketry.
To install the new airbox, we're going to drop it down in place carefully, making sure that it lines up with the isolator bushing that we've installed on the factory bracket, as well as the one on the core support. These are included in the hardware kit. Also, we're going to line up the new bracket with the threaded insert used by the factory airbox. Alright, that was a nice little project to get us started, and it's something that you can get done in a couple of hours with some basic hand tools. 271 did an excellent job on the product. Not only did it fit well, it used a lot of the factory locations, so it made the install super easy. Plus, those detailed instructions were probably the best ones that I've seen yet. So excellent work to Vincent and the whole 271 crew. For everyone else watching, make sure to hit that subscribe button for instant notifications as soon as the next episode's ready, because Phase 2 is going to keep rolling and dig a bit deeper into that engine compartment. So as always guys, hope you enjoyed, and thank you very much for watching.